So head to https://mailg.mailg./23163 F3AB868 / E Lee Plong. Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Neutral Cider Hotel podcast. I am your host, Gabe Cook, along with Grant Hutchison and Martin Goodwin-Sharman.
Hello.
Hello. Coming up on the show, we have a chat about the worst experiences we have ever had with cider, and there's a few. And then we're going to wrap things up with your listener questions. And of course, we must take the opportunity to remind you all of the Neutral Cider Hotel live at the Bristol Cider Salon, Thursday, the 12th of August in Bristol, 8 p.m. It's going to be at Hen and Chicken in Southville. If you want to see what we actually look like in the flesh, it's quite horrifying, but I don't want to just dissuade you from coming along. You can come and like gawk at us and, you know, like a sort of Victorian freak show. You can get a 2-for-1 comedy and a horror show at the same time. Come. Please do check us out. We're going to have a lot of fun. And obviously there might not be so many occasions to be able to hear and see us. So do check out neutralciderhotel.eventbrite.co.uk. Tickets are there. It's only a tenner. Comes with a half pint of cider or perry. It is going to be absolutely banging. Please do come down and support us. It's going to be lush. But first, the good to go with the bad and the ugly. You know, it's good to have equilibrium. I'm a Libran, so it comes naturally to me.
You're C3PO.
Yeah.
The good with the bad and the ugly.
Yeah. C3PO, whose birthday was in October. Martin, hello. What star sign are you, out of interest?
I don't know if you can tell by my energy, but definitely a Leo. It's coming up to my birthday. I think, is this or the next one my birthday?
Yeah, it's going to be soon, isn't it?
Yeah. Listeners,
happy birthday.
Home, it doesn't matter.
For the future.
Thank you very much. So yeah, a Leo the lion, a strong, proud 5'4" redhead guy. So yeah.
Well, you know, you're a lion. You're a cub. You're a lovely little cub.
Oh Jesus.
Yeah.
Wow.
And Scott, hello. What star sign are you? I'm just trying to see if there is any link, you know, to character traits.
Yeah, why don't you take a guess?
I'd say Cancer.
I would say Virgo.
She's going to be a Gemini, isn't he?
You're close, but I'm a Libra.
I knew it. When's
your birthday?
September 29th.
Oh, you're at the beginning. They're the rubbish ones. I'm right at the end. Yeah,
Hold on. What?
Yeah. What are you? You're on the cusp with Virgo. I said Virgo, right? So I was
right.
I was semi that. Yeah. As you can tell by my actions, I'm on the cusp of being Scorpio, so I'm quite jabby and stabby with my thoughts and opinions.
You can't claim the traits of something you're not, though. That's like the whole point, is to be like,
I'm on the cusp.
That's
so
a classic Libra trying to steal all the other star signs.
Hold on. The traits of a Scorpio aren't stabby because it's a Scorpio. I don't think you're doing this right, Gabe.
Hang on. Libra, weighing scales, well balanced. Scorpions, jabby, stabby.
Stabby is a trait.
Is that not right? Oh no, my brother is a Scorpio, and he's the least stabby, jabby, attacky person I know, probably. So,
right.
I stand corrected.
The Perry you guys made, I'm assuming that the aroma of that was the stabbiest thing that he's ever done.
What the infamous sausage Perry?
The infamous one.
Actually, we're going to be talking about good ciders and bad ciders in a moment. I will let you and now the rest of the world know that I actually entered a cider that my brother and myself made into a competition. There is a competition that I don't get involved with in terms of the running or the judging of this. There is one, and
fingers in all the pies, the ones you choose. If I remember, episode 4.
Yes. And so, although I am slimming back my competition endorsement this year, there's only one. International Cider Awards. Go check it out. Cider makers, enter it. Go to brewingawards.org. You'll find all the information there. Anyway, gratuitous plug over with. I entered into another competition that was running just recently, and it was really interesting because the cider was what can I say? A touch Stinky poo poo on the nose. It was just a little bit. It was a little bit Bretty, bit broad phenolic on the nose, but
Stinky poo poo.
Stinky poo.
We have an episode title within 2 minutes. This is unrivaled. Stinky poo poo.
And so it was yeah, it's a bit broad on the nose, but it was a blend of Kingston Black and Dimmock Red. And the acidity was nice and brisk. The tannins had really softened and mellow out. It was bone dry, lightly conditioned, nice conditioning. I always seem to like under condition it. Got it perfectly this time. So I was really happy and proud with it. And I really like drinking it. And it didn't get a medal, which means it was not worthy of commendation. The judges thought there was basically something not quite right with it. And if I had judged it, I probably would have given it no medal too, because the aroma is probably a bit too far. But it was,
so were you testing? Is that a litmus test for if that awards category is worthy of the Gabe view of seal of approval? This is the longest sentence I've said. Oh my God!
I was just genuinely I was just interested to see what other people thought of.
Hang on,
this cider.
no. Did you just move house and you needed to clear out some cider? So your way of getting rid of stuff is to send it into a competition so that you don't have to have it in the house. Is that what's happened?
Put it this way. The guys who delivered the fridge this morning, they had a case of cider to take away with them. The guys who installed our new router, they had a case. The guy who picked up the old fridge, he got some cider too. And the neighbours, they don't know it yet. Hi, neighbours. They're about to get some cider tomorrow night when I knock on the door and say hello to them. So I can neither confirm nor deny your incredulous accusation, Martin.
Beautiful. I'm so glad that was like the most detective moment in my life. Like pinning it together. It was going to be the one episode where we don't talk about you moving house as well. This is going to be the one. Oh, well, look,
as I say, everybody seems to know my status. The status is I have moved house. I'm in. This is it. The forever home. Not the forever home for the next bit, but it's one that we can put our own foot. Thank you, Scott. Thank you. I'm very glad. Jules is certainly very glad too. And it's a cute little cottage. It's very nice, and it's just nice to be able to put your own stuff, your own stamp on it. So it's really nice. It has I've gone from a garage to a very small micro shed. So yes, I am desperately trying to shed as much cider as possible. So if you want some free cider, head to the opposite side of the lake from Nempnut Throbwe.
Oh, mate. Well, that sounds like an actual good cider opportunity. And speaking of good things in cider, you said, Gabe, talking about the good things. What good things in cider have happened to you?
Well, too many things to mention, really, but I'll have a stab. And that's the great thing about cider, of course, is that it's full of nice people, and it's, often set in lovely parts of this country and other countries, and there's a passion and a fervor, and it does result in a pleasant end product as well that is convivial and enjoyed and expressive. So there are so many things. First of all, let's come close to home. The Big Apple Festival, the Putley Cider Trials that normally takes place every May Bank Holiday weekend. It's the competition that all the local cider makers want to win. To be able to see, Mike Henney, who makes, he's in Tesco, he makes like couple of million litres of cider every year.
Had his cider on the show, didn't we?
We have indeed. We did. We tried the dry. To see him elbow to elbow around the table. Imagine a little village hall with all these trestle tables and just sampling all these ciders, blind, and everyone's having a chat and being convivial and having a good time, but also, really passionate and people wanting to win. And the reason why they're all tasting and judging is because it's peer reviewed. If you enter into a category, you get to judge, so you get to meet everybody. And the very first time I entered, I think it must have been 2008 by myself.
Jesus.
Yeah, and I picked. I'm trying to. I think the blend was
Dimmock Red.
No, it wasn't. There's very little. There's very little Dimmock Red around, actually. I really made Dimmock Red properly for the first time this year. The one that didn't get a medal. Anyway, this one, I think it was Browns, Bulmers Norman, and I can't remember what the other one was. I can't remember. I think it might have been Dabonet, actually. And it was just really nicely balanced. And I was very happy with it, and just entered in your demi-john into the little carboy into the thing and tasted away. And I got third place.
Wee.
And I was just over the moon that the cider makers had thought that my cider was, a good cider and worthy of, what they wanted to drink. And everybody patted me on the back and said, "Oh, well done," because I was really new into a couple of years in, max 18 months, and everyone was just so nice, and I felt really welcome, and it was that sense of community, and just it was just like the nicest feeling, and it really, really cemented the feeling that this was an industry that I wanted to work in. So. That's one that definitely sticks out.
Yeah, that idea of the community, though, I think everyone that I know in cider says the exact same thing. And it a lot of the other drinks industry seems so big. And what's good about cider is, especially in the UK, it's quite a small scene, but it is all just good apples. So you are just like, didn't even realize the pun, but there we go. Oh, he's taking your job, Gabe. But
watch out.
Yeah, no, everyone is just like absolutely like willing you on, and it's just so nice that it's an industry made up of those kind of guys.
Yeah, definitely. And then for me, I've been so lucky and privileged to have been able to travel with cider as well.
Slightly travelled individual man, I believe.
Indeed. And to subside and to stay with cider makers in central Victoria, like north of Melbourne, where the Kingston Black gets up to 11.2% alcohol because it gets so ruddy hot out there. That's those kind of things. But yeah, to drink, to visit, I think the apogee, like the peak of like the bonkersness of it all, was to go to the fjords of Norway, and this cider house on the slopes. Coming down to the edge of the ocean, or the inlet, with the giant precipitous mountains up above, and there's this little cider house, and there was a Dimmock Red tree planted there, and all this, yeah. Olga from Balholm Cider, Cider Huset in Ballstrand, a magic place, and just to know that there was this international connectivity around cider built upon sort of heritage. Dimmock Red being a really old apple, like 500 odd years old, but this person being interested in the varieties and somehow got a hold of a tree and planted up. So just moments like that really bring home just how sort of privileged and special it all is. And they made great cider too, so we had a good time.
Oh, mate. Out of all of them, it seems like the Dimmock Red is the apple that I would least expect to have migrated out. like I only heard about it from you, and I was like, he doesn't shut up about it. But it clearly other people like it.
Well, it was a much more important established drink a very long time ago. Go back 400 years, and it was written about as like, it would be like the equivalent of Yarlington Mill today or something like that. It was kind of like revered and talked about and grown, and it was named as a variety in the old books. But I don't think it's a particularly good cropper or something like that. So it didn't transcend into the more sort of modern cider things. So you don't see it as much. The reason why I think it was planted up there is that Olga, who's the cider maker, he's a real fan of cider history. So he would have read the books, and so he would have seen that on the list and gone, "Oh, I'll have a go at that," because of its sort of historical significance, rather than something like Harry Masters' Jersey, maybe, which has sort of come a bit later on, possibly. Anyway, enough about me. Martin, tell us more about some of your joyous experiences.
Yeah, well, leaning into it, and what you said first about the community, I remember, so I came to cider properly through beer, and every post I put up about a cider, like the cider maker immediately messaged back, like, "Thank you very much. Oh, where did you try?" And the dialogue was like this instant link that with people that know an infinite amount of knowledge, that you're just like, hang on, you respond to this and it's you. And I mean, number one on the list is Tom, who, whatever the ciders taste like, is there a cider maker who's more engaged online? It's just like, it's madness. So props to Tom for kicking off that kind of infectious kind of enthusiasm, really. But for me, the thing that the last year was a real slog for everyone. And I think the kind of desire to get out and do stuff was obviously at a high point when you can't do it. And luckily, I got invited down by Martin to go blend ciders with him. And since those kind of collab blends have spiraled out, and I'm drinking the latest one here, which is with Nightingales, and it is fucking lush. But it's only lush. Well, it's only lush. It's very lush, and it will be lush. But it's lush because it's a connection to a friend. Do you know what I mean? It's like this fucking, for me, I'm like, I've got like a little library of moments now, and you can drink them where they're just a hangout session. So it's just, I've done that in beer, but nowhere near the amount and the kind of qualitative time spent with the makers as cider. Cider just seems like this little pocket of just gold that's not been dug up yet. It's just, I absolutely love it. So those kind of moments stand out for me, where you're just hanging out with people who know what they're talking about and are desperate to show you how good cider can be.
Nice. And bravo for saying qualitative without missing a beat there.
I've practiced that all morning, actually.
You knew it was coming up. Scott, as somebody who, prior to taking on the production reins of here at the hotel, I think was a bit of a cider newbie. What are the awesome experiences that you've had with cider?
Yeah, I mean, I think I say this all the time, but number one with a bullet is this podcast.
Yes.
Without question.
Yes!
Come on.
Just the camaraderie that we have built up over the last year, but also getting to learn about and try some incredible ciders that, in my world, whatever I could get at the local store, even at the bottle shops, I wouldn't have known what to get. I never even had a chance to try. And because of this podcast and because of you guys, I've tried some things that I'd never had before and gained a new appreciation for cider in a way that I just didn't. And now I'm the asshole at all the parties going like, why are you drinking that seltzer? You should be drinking cider. Cider is so good. Oh my God, you have no idea. It's not sugar water. It's this and that. And I'm telling everybody about all the reasons why they should be drinking it. So without question, this podcast, in terms of the fun, the camaraderie, and the cider experience. And then secondarily, I think over the time that we've done this, I've had a couple of shipments of cider sent to me of things I can't get here on the West Coast of the U.S., and have been able to try some amazing ciders. Eves, I think you guys in the early days got me a gift box of Eves, and that was mind-blowing. Just kind of reset the whole scale of what I even understood cider to be, with still ciders and just the level of quality that goes into everything they do. So that was mind-blowing. I think the care package sent to me from the fine folks at Little Pomona, James and Susanna, which
I believe they've been on the show, haven't they?
Yes, I believe they have.
I think maybe at least once.
They've got to be on for our final episode, surely.
They were great to send me a package of I got one of theirs, which I still haven't tried yet. I'm saving, but I will.
Which one?
I think it's Disco.
Hey,
Nouveau.
Disco Nouveau.
Yes. So I think that one's maybe that'll be the season finale episode drink. But there's that. But they also got me several from the States that I can't get down here in Southern California, including one I'm drinking now, Yonder, the Tanaki, and a few others. So again, expanded my world of understanding. And then last but not least, one of the guests we had on, Guidon Cole and Original Sin.
Yeah.
My God, every time I crack open, he sent me, I don't know, 4 or 5, and I've been slowly just nursing them because I love every single one I've opened, and especially the single variety ones. I just like.
Did you have the Newtown?
I haven't. I've been saving it. I haven't.
Mate, yes.
I'm going to. I'm so excited to.
And again, it's one of those, like, if someone says, say, like, so I can't even think of an example, but say if someone says, like, oh, their favorite film is Lord of the Rings, and you go, and I say that looking right at Gabe's eyes, but it's one of those films where it's like a big blockbuster, everyone knows it. It's not the craziest, artiest thing, and it's all this, but I mean, I think it's a flawless drink for what it is. That Newtown Pippin, I was like, I wouldn't change a thing. Why would you want to? And yeah, Guidon's one of those people that listen to the show, like being part of the show. Sorry, you're like, yeah, I never would have met people like him, really, and it's just a wonder, innit?
So there we go. We've had the good and the ugly. Sorry, Martin.
Fuck no! Fuck off! No. All right. Yeah. No. Fine. Carry on.
Someone's got a beer, and
someone's got to be ugly. How? Yeah. Oh, all right. Yeah. Fine. That's fine. No. Fine.
Anyway, moving on. So what you're about to hear is another episode from the Patreon Vaults recorded earlier this year. It's a little shorter than the average episode, but as we've said previously, no less fabulous. This is brand new material. And we spoke with the wonderful Rachel Hendry earlier that day. So do go and check out her blog, J'adore Le Planck. Her latest issue, number 19, Wine and Change, marks a year of writing. So a belated happy birthday to you, Rachel.
Happy birthday.
And so if you're not already following and checking out J'adore Le Planck, you should go to the website. And here it is, https://mailg. /23163, which funnily enough is actually the combination lock for the shed. Go help yourselves, everybody. F3AB868 /JDAW E Lee Plong.
I mean, that should just be like leplonk.com or leplonk.net, shouldn't it?
Yeah, or something. Come on,
Rachel,
spend a couple of quid.
We love you. Can we buy her a URL? Can we do that? Is that a thing? Can we gift her one?
Yeah, it doesn't cost much, and it's such great writing. It deserves to have it. That's for certain, and maybe will enable more people to enjoy it. Anyway,
that'll be in the show notes. That's definitely, it will be there.
Well, it's kind of a bit of a necessity. If somebody is able to actually decipher what I said and actually get onto the website, bravo to you. Help yourself to a bottle of cider from the shed. Not from the top shelf, they're special. You can go bottom shelf.
With the fridge movers, that's what you get.
Absolutely, yeah. Fridge movers get bottom shelf. So there we go. No need to drum up the excitement anymore. Let's beat it and let these guys get ensnared by this special episode of the Neutral Cider Hotel. Hello, lovely patrons. Welcome to the Patreon-only exclusive episode of the Neutral Cider Hotel podcast made just for you. In this episode, we're going to be talking about our worst cider experiences, and something tells me that they're going to be quite fun and interesting. But before we delve down that hole, first of all, dear friends, Martin Goodwin-Sherman, Grant Hutchison, how are we? How is life? How are we doing? Are we well?
Dude, I am very good. I basically, I probably said it in the episode before, but I went and did a blend with Little Pomona for a cider that's coming up. But I wanted to talk as well about a weird positive experience I had, which kind of put my tasting in doubt, but then reconfirmed it. James had told me that their latest Perry was probably the best thing he'd ever made. And the problem is when you rank something high, it can only go downhill. So gave me this bottle, hadn't even been labeled yet, and the labels had just turned up. So he put it on this bottle and he was like, there you go, take that home. It's going to rock your fucking world. And I was like, all strong words. Get home and I crack it, and I probably cracked it on the show, but I remember being like,
you did.
This is it's okay. It's not very, I mean, he said tropical. It's like a little fruity. I mean, it's mainly tastes like apple, if anything. And I wasn't that keen on it. And so I went back up and did the bottling with him. And I said, mate, that Perry you made, not that good. And he looked at me like, are you fucking kidding? He was like, that's the best thing. He was like, I'm pretty sure. No, you couldn't have drank that one. And I said, yeah, just it. And this is a horrible good comment, but it tasted kind of muddy. Like none of the flavors were pronounced, which they usually are with Perry, because there's that big acidity and that kind of like usually little residual sweetness, but those huge kind of rhubarb acidity characters and all this. And it just tasted a bit like a little funky appley pear thing. And he opened another bottle. He was like, I defy you to say that this is the one you tried. And he poured it out. It looked different. It smelled amazing. And it tasted fucking sublime. And I was like, oh yeah, I didn't drink this. I was like,
what did you give
so
me?
then it became like what did I give you? And I think we figured it out as one of the bottles that they had, the cider house is closed at the moment, but one of the bottles was like a half filled bottle, like at the end of the line, and that got put on the table, and it was put on the table unlabeled, and it's like, oh, well, that's the Perry. So when I got it home, it was like this oxidized flat Perry that had none of the character. But I'm glad I didn't just say to him like, yeah, you are right. The Emperor's cloves look great. Oh, you're so good.
Yeah, but you were. It was a podcast night because when we all log on, we have a bit of chat for 15 minutes before we start recording. You were like, you held up the bottle and you went, this, it's all right. Not that great. And I was like, oh, okay, I've got 15 cases of that on the way.
You were giving him palpitations.
Well, and also I'm a big fan of their Perry, and I was like, oh, shit, no, don't tell me this is the one that's not going to hit the mark. And thank God you were given the wrong liquid.
Quite the opposite in that when I actually had it, I wrote here, pineapple, quince, citron, passion fruit on the nose, lifted with perfume intensity. First thing is a fuzzy, almost kiwi sensation on the tongue, like literally furry. It's insane with the tannins. A quince-like acidity rides the tongue whilst the tannins hold it in place. And I was just drinking like, this is just one pear variety. That's all you've used. It was mind-blowingly lovely. And I get why he was waxing lyrical. It's just such a shame that like being the exclusive, like, oh, I'm in the cider house. Oh, I've got this exclusive bottle. I got the fucking shit one. Usually you get the good one when you're in that position.
I know, yeah. I got the unlabeled one.
Shit happens, doesn't it? But, as being discussed with Rachel Hendry on the main show, the fact that you had the confidence to say, I don't think that's right. And that's the hardest thing. I remember the very first time I judged anything or had to sort of really vocalize something about how something tasted was it was a competition, I think in 2012, the International Cider Challenge, I think it was. And I was terrified that like, I don't think this tastes very good. Do I say that? The other people think it's good and I'm the one with the crap palate and vocalize it, and everyone goes, no, that is really bad. It's like, oh, thank fuck for that. Woof, it's okay. But it takes confidence and bravery and confidence to have that within your own taste.
Was mine though blind arrogance? Like I
100%. Without a shadow of a doubt. Of course it was.
I think that's what when we chatted with Rachel, what I took from what she was saying was that how do we get to a point where it's less terrifying to say what you actually taste or feel, or it shouldn't be that way, right? You shouldn't be going into situations where you're tasting something and all you're doing is tasting. So you can only say what you taste, and whether you taste gooseberry or whether you would say the word salinity or umami, or like the words that you use to describe it don't make it any less or more important or correct than someone else who has a vocabulary that fits that drink.
Yeah.
And how do you get to a point where people feel comfortable right from the beginning to describe what they taste and what they find in a drink?
For example, pool noodles.
But that's that synthetic plastic. I'm like, I can name that, but also I'm confident enough to know that like that's a niche memory for me. And if someone goes, no, I get rubber ball, it's like, cool, that's fine. But a big problem with it is that's an analytical approach. And I think a lot of people drink medicinally still, even those that like fine stuff are like, I just drink good tasting things to get pissed on. If it tastes quote unquote fruity, that's enough for them. But there's that kind of like engaged thought where you're like, I have to understand this and also the practices. If you get it wrong, like I did it on Old Man and the Bee, where I've always not thought it's barrel-y, but it tastes woody. And I don't know if that's just the sheer, like the actual fruit and that tannin, and it's got like a weird oaky kind of character to it. But you're like, you put yourself out there, and if you get it wrong, you know what? Who gives a shit? It's all subjective. Like, no, It's like saying music. It's like,
you can't get it wrong, can you?
But the amount of times I've loved songs and people have gone, this is shit. And it's like, but you haven't lived my entire life to get to this point where this song means something to me. Like a drum track I listened to as a kid has evolved into a study of percussion and this, and then I've gone to this level. Whereas if you have no association with that, it's going to mean nothing to you. And the same with booze, where you're like, I love the place and the sense of cider. And I think cider for me really harks to like what the UK does well, but also the amount of European countries that have such a beautiful identity with cider that I love it. And then some people go, no, I drank Strongbow as a kid and I threw up, so it's all shit. And you're like, you know what? If they're all shit to you, I maybe I can't change your mind.
But they might be. That's the only person that can say that is someone who has tried all the cider that has ever been made.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, if you be like,
good evening, everybody. How do you do? It's nice to meet you.
The ego has landed. Yes. That's so good. Oh.
What's the worst cider you ever tasted, Gabe?
Well, we're going to come on to
that. We're going to come on to it right now.
In just that's
the wrong question. It's not necessarily that question, is it?
The little bit of fun and brevity in my week this week was obviously researching for Modern British Cider, the new book coming. There we go.
Wait for this. That's the second one, Cider Italia, isn't it?
Il Cider del Mondo.
Also, before you carry on, Il Peri del Mondo is coming out soon as well. That's in the pipeline.
Hang on and get out.
Come on.
Scott, you're on fire. Look at this. This is amazing.
Fastest guns in the West.
Very briefly, we amongst us have talked about keg conditioned cider. I'm not sure whether we've really ventured into it much in the main show thus far. I think we probably will do at some stage. Obviously, there are strong proponents of it, the Little Pomonas, the Ross and Wise, etc. And it is it's fun and it does provide a new and differing opportunity. What I discovered, obviously researching for this book, is that there was a keg conditioned cider being made in the 1990s. And I remember Addleston's cider, the cloudy cider.
I can remember Addleston's.
When it when it first came out, when it was a brand in the 90s, it was keg conditioned. It was a live dry cider with some extra yeast and sugar put in there. And it was that keg conditioned. It was that naturally sparkling within the keg. It meant there was huge amounts of variation. This is in chat with Bob Chaplin, used to be the head cider maker for what has become the cider making facility in Shepton Mallet in Somerset, which has been under many guises over the years. This would be, I suppose, a gamer cider company brand at this point, possibly. But yeah, it was another lovely reminder of anything and everything that we think as a society that we're the first people to approach it, or like we've nailed it, we've come up with something entirely new. It's all been done before.
I remember Addleton's was one of the first ciders on my cider journey as well, actually. I remember in Stravagan in Glasgow, this bar, and we would go in there in between recording, because it was right down from where we were recording, and the bartender being like, right, by the way, if this is further down the barrel, it's it's got stocks in it, which is not probably true, but further down the barrel, definitely the cloudier it got. And we got to a point where we could tell. We were like, that pint's okay. We've got another few days before we're right into the good stuff here. And that's funny you mentioned that. That's the first time I thought about that. Since I was drinking Addleton's as a cider that was pretty strong for a tap cider in a pub at that time. Like,
I think so. I think it was sort of 6 or 6+ possibly. So
we used to call it getting addled. You want to go and get addled?
The punologist was working very hard at an early age before he even knew he was the punologist.
I wasn't that young. I was definitely old enough to drink. But
well, there we go. Yeah, I'm not saying you were a child or anything. I wouldn't cast
Don't call
that
me
kind
a
of
child.
aspersion.
How dare you call me a
tangent
child?
this has gone on.
I know it's really.
I was
Martin,
waiting to be queued up there. Go on.
Martin, you proposed a theme for this, our Patreon special section of Neutral Cider Hotel. Thanks again for all of our Patreon supporters. What did you select?
Well, a big thing with the show is like for me there's this kind of feeling that we represent something insider as well, where it's like it's not about being positive for positive sake, but we're a looking glass on the whole industry. And I think we do have a responsibility to be honest and mainly positive. But because this is a little side one, I felt not a bit bitchy, but I thought, I get asked quite a lot, like, what's the worst cider you've had? So I wanted to ask you guys, what's the worst experience you've had with cider? And I know I can start here where there's a certain boat in Bristol that sells cider. And when I was at uni in Cheltenham, it was a mate's birthday on our course, and they came and did a trip on the boat, and you basically go to each bar kind of thing. And we ended up in said place. And it was a cider place. So, I'm going to get the cider. And I was asking for something just like light, easy going. And I think they saw me and were like, here's Muggins. He doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. And I was literally just like, please help me. And they gave me a pint. They were like, all right, we'll give you this. There you go. And I drank it, and it was like drink 7 of the day. And I took a big slip, like proper gulp. And all I can remember now is the texture of dog slobber in my mouth from this pint. It was like viscous glue, like proper. I'm like, oh God. And they're like, that's proper cider. There you go. And it's like, no, this is just dead yeast. You've given me the thing that's just died. This is it's basically all the cells that made alcohol in here are still in here, and they've struggled and they've gone to the bottom, and then you've shaken it up and given me this cocktail of death and piss. And I can taste it now, and I regret everything I've ever done.
Wow. That's It's a little unfortunate, isn't
And
it?
yet you're here now on a cider
You are.
podcast.
Well, I'm trying to prove to myself that it's more than the bad parts, which unfortunately for us, I mean, we've talked about it a lot. A lot of people just resign cider to the first drink they had and they don't like it. But I think being Cornish, it was like, I'm around so much cider, good or bad, but I drank more of it and more of it to learn, oh, actually, you don't dislike it. You dislike being so drunk that you're a piece of shit.
But even down in Cornwall and in the southwest, is it different when you're growing up with cider, or is it the same as is it anywhere where
So
you go
the ciders I was drinking weren't any different, really. There's a couple like Rattler and stuff like that are like they're just down in the area. The point is the cultural identity is there. So say, example, like if you have sushi once and you don't like it and you go, oh, no, I don't eat sushi. If you're Japanese, I'm sure you're going to eat sushi more. And it's the same of like, oh, this is a Cornish thing. So you drink it, you get pissed and you feel awful. But people go, no, we're going to do this again tomorrow because we live in Cornwall and that's what we drink. So it's that kind of like, it's like riding a bike when you don't know how to, like you take the stabilizers off after you've learnt it. Like they're just like, no, you're going to keep doing this until you can do it kind of thing, which is a weird relationship to have with alcohol.
Do you think there was something wrong with the cider, or do you think
No,
it was like
the sheer alcohol was the thing. Like, because they drink, they're just like apple juice in a sense, a lot of them, and they're 7%. And when you're young, you don't need that level of alcohol.
Martin, thank you for your confession, my child, in the cider confessional booth. Grant,
Dad?
what is your worst cider experience?
Oh, so it's sort of, I don't know if it's so bad because what precedes it was so good, but when one of the first festivals we ever played, certainly outside of Scotland anyway, was one called End of the Road festival in Dorset. It's brilliant festival, and it's the other festival the Cider Bus visits. So
Yes.
Glastonbury has the Cider Bus. End of the Road also has the Cider Bus. So
what is the cider bus for those of us that don't know?
It's Burrow Hill, right?
I really wanted you to get it. It's a bus with cider on it, Scott.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, it is, but it's
It's quite literally an old school double-decker bus. Imagine, London Red bus, but it's painted blue with flowers, and it has Somerset Cider Bus written on it.
But it has
and it turns into a mobile bar, right?
yeah, and it has barrels.
Yeah,
Where they pour the cider out of.
that's right.
And it doesn't tour festivals around the UK. It probably could, but it doesn't. It goes to Glastonbury, and it goes to End of the Road Festival. And End of the Road it's an amazing festival, so good. The lineup's always incredible. I'd seen such amazing bands there, and it was one of the first times when they actually asked us to play. We were kind of like, have you got the wrong email address? Like, we only had we'd self-released the Greys at the time, and they were like, yeah, I'll come down. So we came and went down to End of the Road. So we stayed in the van that we drove down in, and we played on, I say a stage, but it was a tent that was the Pims tent, and it was kind of where everyone it was basically where everyone dropped off their kids at the start of the day, and they were like, okay, you go and play here, we're gonna go and do a festival. So it had like big Jenga and big chess and lots of kids with mini dreads, and we spent all weekend really taking advantage of the cider bus, and they had this kind of hot cider, and they would put you could get a little top up of Somerset cider brandy and in the top of your glass for top of your cup for an extra couple of quid. And this was at the end of the weekend. We'd enjoyed it. We'd played, and really taken advantage of it and sat down not far from the bus with me. I think it was me and Billy from the band with our hot cider with a top up of cider brandy, sitting down having a chat. It's great. And a few other people start sitting down like, oh, okay, that guy's got dreads, but that's okay. He's like a few feet away. And then all of a sudden he's got a drum in his hand.
Oh no!
It's like, oh, okay. And then I look around and they're like, okay, we're sitting on logs.
Fear.
We're sitting on logs and they're in a circle. They're like, oh shit, right. We've just joined a drum circle. Well, we've not just joined one. We started one without drums. But people sit down and start hitting. And you're like, okay. I don't really want to be a part of this, but also I can't just. I feel too polite just to get up and leave. So just sitting there and also not thinking that anyone's going to recognize me as the guy who played on the kids' stage at 3 p.m. on a Saturday afternoon, but also like there might be that one person who's like, oh, that guy's a drummer. Give him a drum. And
grab the drum,
cider just seemed like, oh my God, having this awful freak out with the greatest drink I probably ever had. Also with the fear that this guy with dreads is just going to be like, hey man, do you want to play a drum? No, I don't want to fucking play a drum. Let me drink my cider. And it just, it for me, it was like that. It's that whole world of cider of like, yeah, man, I've got dreads. I'm cool. Let's hit a drum. Let's all stand in a circle and play drums together. I'm like, no. I play drums with a person who plays guitar, and then we play with a person who plays bass, and then we make a song. We don't sit in a circle and just fucking hit things. So don't ruin my cider experience that I'm having right now with my friend. And somehow they did. And after 15 minutes, we managed to walk away, but it was the worst 15 minutes of my life.
The worst 15 minutes.
Absolutely, absolutely. Drum circles are the worst. They are the worst. It ruins drums and it ruins circles. Two vital things in most people's lives, and people come along with dreads and they fuck it up for
I know the camera's off right now, but I'm feeling like starting a little drum circle, baby. No,
pass me the djembe. I'll fucking do it for you. Ugh, nah, go away.
Anyway,
get fucked.
Here's Wonderwall.
Wonderwall, fine. You do not in a fucking drum circle.
I'll do it.
Yeah. So yeah, that
you can see he's tapping back into the bad place.
Yeah, really tainted it for me. And it was that, like I say, what made me think of this when Martin said, "Oh, let's think of our worst cider experiences," was how much I was enjoying it, and the dread I felt when I realised what was happening, and felt like I couldn't leave because I'm a drummer, and it'd be kind of rude to be like, "No, sorry, you started drumming, and that's why I'm going to leave." But that's exactly why I wanted to leave.
I just loved your apt use of the word dread then at the end. Fucking amazing.
That was clever.
But Gabus Pseudonarsicus, what's your worst experience with the liquid that we love?
So this would be quite a few years ago, and it was one of the very first tours that I led in London, and it was a private tour. Somehow somebody found out that I was doing tours and inquired, and it was a private tour. It was someone's birthday.
Drummer from Frightened Rabbit.
Not from Frightened Rabbit. And so we had agreed to rendezvous at a particular sort of bar pub in London, and I don't know. I got there nice and early, and they didn't seem to turn up, or I couldn't see anybody. there just seemed to be lots of very, very hungover people around me, which turned out actually to be the group. They were out for this for like a birthday weekend, and they had all gone on the razzle dazzle the night before, and they were all green. I mean, they were not looking very happy, but they were quite hardcore. And they were like, no, we're still good for this. Let's go. Come on, cider. I'm like, okay. So cider is all about polyphenolics and acids. And,
Did somebody say polyphenolics?
And sugars. Trying in my early days of lack of confidence, just like, let's do this like analytically. Anyway, it started by going to get two ciders, one that was a bit more tannic driven, one that was a bit more acid driven, and get a half pint of each. And it was Easter Saturday, or the day after Good Friday. And it was a beautiful day, and spring was in bloom, and we were outside. And so we got the ciders and we went like sort of cheers. So here's the first cider. And before I could even sort of launch into my obvious 9-minute soliloquy about what this cider was about, someone went, excuse me, I think there's something in my cider. So I had a look at my glass, was like, oh yeah, it is a little hazy, isn't it? No, you're right. It's just a little bit haze. And it was a woman. She went, no, I think there's something moving in my cider.
What?
So I held up the glass and brought it like real close. And to my absolute horror, there were thousands of wiggly things.
Oh.
To which, at that point, there's not much kind of like blagging you could do at the point. It's like, well,
fly eggs are what
to
happens when you don't close off your taps at night.
This is interesting. Let me just go and have a word with the bar. Bear with me 1 second. Thank you very much. And go up and say like, there's wiggly stuff in the cider. We need to change.
And I said, and not in the Cock Tavern. This has been an establishment that I've looked at.
It was not in North London, you're right, or East London.
That's awful.
And so they were great. We changed the ciders immediately. No fuss, no issue, no questioning, no nothing. Just like, yeah, done, sorted. And to be fair, the participants on the tour who were A, kind of hanging, and B, had just drunk wiggly stuff, were pretty fine about it and just got straight into it. And it was a really, really good tour. But I really wanted to know what were the wiggly things and were they going to be of any issue. So subsequently the bar rang the cider maker, who I won't name, to find out what do we know what these things are? I was like, yeah, it's fine. Do you know what? It's just a vinegar eel. I'm like, well, what the heck is a vinegar eel? Turns out that vinegar eel is in fact a nematode, Turbotrix aceti, which is a tiny little animal that feeds on the mother that's created with cider vinegar. When there's so much cider vinegar is created, you get this sort of gelatinous mass of bacteria. And these little nematodes feed on it. I'm sure you'll be.
What I mean, so question 1A.
Hit me.
Wow. For it to get to that level, surely the liquid itself was a vinaigrette.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't. The cider itself wasn't vinegary, but I very much suspect that these were just like really old barrels that it was made in that would probably have had a build-up. We're talking a West Country uber trad kind of cider that had arrived into the pub in a bag and box, or maybe even a poly pin, possibly. It's just like fill her up, and somebody's like picked it up and sent it off down there. It wasn't really vinegary. This was the interesting thing. It wasn't vinegary at all. It was a little rustic, let's say, but certainly not.
So you
not full on vinegar.
drank it. You drank this one, and did you think like this? Was this the tannic one? Yeah, I'm guessing because you said like tannic and non-tannic.
This was the tannic one. That's absolutely
was that
right.
like a good? Did you drink it and go like, "That's a hearty good example of tannic cider"?
I did. Do you know? Yeah, it was like this was a dry, still, unpasteurized Kingston Black single variety, and it was pretty good. Yeah,
Fucking
good job.
that just seems
not a drain pour. So
no, not at all. Not at all.
So living organisms,
living life,
are not necessarily connected to a drain pour.
Fucking
how can you have you have things that are alive that are not meant to be alive in a drink and be like, oh yep, love this, this is good.
So if you make a cider that is not stabilized through pasteurization or through like a sterile filtration process, it is a live cider, and you know we've all drunk those kind of ciders, and they can be the best of ciders. It's just happened that in this case it came from a place or a barrel whereby there was a little bit more life in there than was anticipated. Wow. And I have never before or since looked into a glass of cider and seen actual small wiggly things. It was really quite impressive.
Okay, honestly, you've body horror shocked me. Like, I'm actually like, wow. Mine was like, oh, my cider was crap. And Grant's like, oh, I was in a drum circle. And you're like, people could have died.
Well, no, let's not get too dramatic here, people. I did subsequently Google Turbotrix acetic, and it's perfectly harmless. It's able to cope with the level of sort of pH that's associated with like acetic acid with vinegar, but not that of your stomach.
Maybe that's the next trend. Fuck keg conditioned. How about
worm conditioned? Nematode conditioned?
The future will not be pasteurized.
I'm not sure about that.
You alluded to it earlier on in that, where you were talking about the kind of like naive start of your touring, like tastings journey when you're a teacher. Your biggest strength, I think, is like, one, your encyclopedic knowledge, but the fact that you convey it. So we take the piss out you here, but you do actually convey it really easy to understand, and it's fun. What was there ever a time where you were like, this is not working? Because I've had it where I've been drinking, I'm like, I don't care what you're saying, and someone's telling me the most interesting thing about the drink.
Yeah, quite a few times actually, and you know, sometimes people just want to have a boozy soundtrack to something structured to give them a slightly different kind of evening. They don't actually care what it is that you're saying. It's like give me some cider, give me something different, and this is a great experience. And I take umbrage to that, and so I have ended up like, I've got quite a loud voice, and I've ended up shouting, basically shouting to try and drown out the chit chatters in the corner.
I remember. Because, well, when we first met, it was my birthday tour, cider tour of Bristol. And Jay said that she'd messaged you and been like, oh, me and my fiance, boyfriend, don't know what stage we were at the time, but it was like, oh, we're coming down, and he loves cider, and is there any chance you could do a tour? And you're like, oh, I don't really do like private tours. And I think she was like, no, but he really, really likes cider. Like, please, like, and you said yes for some reason. And then I remember sitting down at the stable in Bristol.
Yeah.
Like, okay, this is some cider. And we had a sort of minute-long conversation, and it was kind of like, oh, so you actually like cider? You're not.
Yes.
Just just so often it's like, oh, okay, my boyfriend likes cider, and it's like, okay, well, all he said is maybe even Copperberg or Strongbow or
quite,
you know, and I can imagine this sort of slog of trying to do a cider tour or tasting with someone that, or people who just want to drink
The medicinal quality of
something
alcohol.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's different, but you put yourself out there and done it and got it. You know, you've served people worms, and that's amazing.
That's your legacy. Jesus Christ.
This is very true. Yeah, you know, in the majority of instances, people they want to have a good time, and normally, if you're going to go on a tour, then you have some sort of fun and there's interactivity between different people. If it's a private kind of like a tour event, that's when occasionally it can just be, well, somebody's kind of paid for this. I might not even have kind of paid for this, and you know, maybe I haven't seen you, my friend, for 6 or 12 months, and so just kind of want to chat and yak, and I kind of get that.
Yeah, fair enough.
So I think at first I was like, no, I am going to give you the education that you have paid for, whether you like it or not.
You're like quiet. I have never had to raise my voice like that for a class.
I mean, you guys kind of like you know me. You know that I almost kind of would do that and did in the early days, and then I just got down to it. Well, you've paid for an experience. If you're happy with just like having the drinks and me saying like 20 seconds and you get my chat, then that's fine by me. Reading your audience, that's what it's all about, isn't it?
Well, guys, I'm glad the people that have paid for the extra content have had essentially the weirdest, loosest, jazziest piss chat. I loved it. I've loved
That's
this.
what you're here for, right?
This is what you're buying into, people. This is the good stuff.
But yeah, it does actually mean a lot that people care for one, but also that we can actually have a bit more of an honest, in-depth bit here. So just glad that we could have a little chat on the booze. There's nothing wrong with that, is there?
Well, there we go. Listening back, our worst cider moments,
Yeah.
were they really that bad? I don't know. I mean, mine and yours, not the most pleasant of experiences, I would say, and not one that we would like to repeat again. But you know, it kind of happens, possibly. I'm not sure, but kind of feel like Grant's the one who got away with things there, didn't he? He's definitely the winner. What do you reckon?
Well, I mean, anyone listening in, I'm going to speak for the audience here, but I would much rather have a drum circle than vinegar worms in my mouth. But yeah,
it's a close one, but I would tend to agree with you, Martin.
Well, Grant, listening back, yeah, a drum circle doesn't actually sound that bad. I mean, especially for someone who drums, or maybe it does, but can you explain to the audience a bit here about what it is that makes drumming so special, and that why a circle would be such an affront?
Yeah, I hit things with sticks for a living.
Well,
yeah.
such insight. There's you know, more than 10 years worth of professional drumming on the road with a full actual real band distilled down into one little nugget.
And a 38 episode callback.
Would you? Absolutely.
Oh, morsels of comedy here.
Yes.
Jesus
That's
Christ.
nearly as long a delay as with Barney down at Sanford Orchards with the internet.
Oh, a deleted episode callback. Those are rare.
Little rare nuggets of things. There we go.
Guys, we have a speak pipe.
Oh, yeah, shit.
Ooh.
And it's been in the queue for a few
Who
weeks.
spoke into the pipe then, Scott?
Well, this one is an anonymous one. We don't have much information.
The way that people are scared to share.
Well,
their
to be
name,
fair,
to be associated with the show.
If you remember, we've had some sentient computers speaking in the past.
Oh, it's a computer.
Oh, it's a bot.
Yeah, maybe
Cider bot.
has a bit of an Irish accent. I'm not 100% sure. You'll have to determine, but
You're not the best with accents, though.
Yeah,
Scott.
this is going to be. It's going to be. It's going to be
it-
like Kansas.
What are you talking about? I'm perfect with accents.
Oh, you are C3PO. Jeez, no, you think I'm C3PO? They were there all the time.
2 features this episode.
Martin,
But-
you'll have to be R2D2 and just to get on with it. Yeah.
Well, by the time they bleep out all my fucking swear words, I will be, won't I? Jesus.
But this presents a possibility for a little bit of a game. So I want you guys to just a bit. Come on.
No, good. I meant good. Like I wasn't. That wasn't
good.
me going. I know I sounded like a disgruntled teen. Ugh, but I meant ugh. That's so good.
Okay, good. So this Irish sentient computer has sung a song for us.
Oh wow!
And what I'd like,
this is great.
yes. And what I'd like from you guys is, I would say, let's do name as buzzers. And you have 3 things you need to identify in this song. I'd like to know the band that did the original song name, and then what is the pun that is referenced in the song. So there is a pun.
Oh
God!
Yes.
Okay. Jesus.
Hitting on all fronts.
Actual quiz there. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm glad.
Pressure's on.
Yeah. Okay.
So
Okay,
name as buzzer.
Yeah.
What's my name again? Okay,
Good question.
Okay, all right.
Here we go.
C3PO. Yeah.
It's my name.
There's a lady who's sure all that glitters is gold, and she's buying a pairway to heaven. When she gets there, she knows if the stores are all
Martin.
closed.
Gabe.
With a
I
word,
knew that
Mine,
ages
Led
ago.
Zeppelin, Stairway to Heavens, Pairway to Heaven.
Fuck, man.
Yes.
Yeah, I literally also, play the clip again. I just
I
want to
will.
hear how Irish it was.
You want to
Yeah.
hear the whole thing too.
Yeah.
there's a lady who's sure all that glitters is gold, and she's buying a pairway to heaven. When she gets there, she knows if the stores are all closed. With a word, she can get what she came for. And she's buying a pairway to heaven. There's a sign on the wall, but she wants to be sure, cause you know sometimes words have 2 meanings. In a tree by the brook, there's a songbird who sings. Sometimes all of our thoughts are misgiven. It makes me wonder. It makes me wonder. There's a feeling I get when I look to the west, and my spirit is crying for leaving. In my thoughts I have seen rings of smoke through the trees, and the voices of those who stand looking. It makes me wonder. It really makes me wonder. And it's whispered that soon, if we all call the tune, then the piper will lead us to reason. And a new day will dawn for those who stand long, and the forests will echo with laughter. If there's a bustle in your hedgerow, don't be alarmed now. It's just a spring cleaning for the May Queen. Yes, there are two paths you can go by. But in the long run, there's still time to change the road you're on. And it makes me wonder, your head is humming and it won't go. In case you don't know, the piper is calling you to join him. Dear lady, can you hear the wind blow? And did you know your pairway lies on the whispering wind? And as we wind on down the road, our shadow's taller than our soul.
It's only 90 seconds, so they got cut off.
Missed opportunity there to put instead of white lightning. But other than that, thank you, sentient Irish. Actually, Northern Irish computer. Yeah.
See? Yeah, right.
Bravo. I did like the oohs. The oohs were good.
Yeah. Not with the same majesty as it. It's not. Oh. Wait a minute.
It does also
Ooh.
show the power of strong drugs, and I think quite a lot of cider actually as well to produce fairly sort of nonsensical lyrics. But man, they're the best nonsensical lyrics to go with a epic 7.5 minute long rock majestic.
One of the things that I grew up with on the internet was watching backmasking videos on early YouTube. And this one, the sprinkling for the May Queen, is like, here's to my sweet Satan, the one whose little path would make me sad, whose power is Satan. I was like, this is real. These are Satans. That's what they're doing. So I'm glad it's come full circle and a sentient robot from Northern Ireland has given me these lyrics by way of pair. Fucking hell, what are we doing with our lives, guys?
Well, there we go. That wraps up another episode. I've lost another game. There's a theme occurring here, isn't there? Not so happy with that. That's it for this mini episode. Remember, we have several more episodes coming for you until the end of August when season 1 will be ending. So the party ain't over yet. And if you want to join in on the party, come and see us in Bristol for our first ever live show. Do go check it out. Once again, it is Thursday, the 12th of August in Bristol for the Cider Salon, and tickets are still available. So head to neutralciderhotel.eventbrite.co.uk. Get your tickets today before they sell out. Remember to also check out our social media for the latest coming and goings on the shows. We're at Neutral Cider Hotel on Instagram and Facebook, Neutral Cider Pod on Twitter, and as ever, you can go to our website to listen online or share episodes. It's neutralciderhotel.com. Lastly, just as the Northern Irish sentient robot has taken advantage of, this is, and you be in great company, one of the final opportunities to get on the speak pipe and leave us that message. Now it could be your interpretation of any other Led Zeppelin.
No more Led Zeppelin songs. That was enough Led Zeppelin songs.
Okay, bring on some Black Sabbath.
Yes.
Maybe how about some Kingston Black Sabbath, possibly?
Oh yes.
Or indeed any other band, or indeed just a question. Doesn't have to be about music or anything. Just reach out, share your thoughts.
Just anything.
Just on anything.
Let us know how you're feeling.
Just anything at all. We really do love to hear from you. So just go to speakpipe.com/Neutral Cider Hotel and leave us a message. So there we go. Thank you for listening. Once again, we will see you next time. Cheers and wassail.